For this project, you need 1/4 Manila paper. On the side, measure 1 inch all the way down. This is for the zipper allowance. Then using the L square, draw a line all the way down. Then write the label zipper allowance, 1 inch. Fold the zipper allowance. Then write back center. Since the top allowance of my front pattern is 1 3/4, I will do the same allowance for my back pattern, 1 3/4 inches. Create a fundamental line at the top. For my waistline, it is 7.5, and then I'll add another inch for the dart allowance. And then for the dart, I need the half of the measurement of my bust point, that is 3.5, and then I'll mark both sides measuring 1/2 inch. Then the length of the dart is 6 inches. Mark it, and then using the ruler, connect the markings with a straight line. And then connect the side markings. Write the label 1/2 inch of both sides of the dart. And then for the length, write 6 inches. The waistline measurement, that is 7.5 inches. Then we added another inch, so it became 8.5. For the measurement of my waist to lower hip, that is 7.5 inches. That's the distance from waist down to my lower hip, 7.5 inches. Always measure twice to get a straight line. Then using the ruler, connect the markings to create a straight line. And then using the tape measure, we will now create the markings for the lower hip line. The 1/4 measurement of my lower hip line is 9 3/4. Write the label for the lower hip line, that is 9 3/4 inches. For the upper hip line, you have to position the tape measure from the waistline down to the lower hip line, and then fold it. Then mark the middle of the fold. Do it twice to get a straight line. Connect the markings by creating a straight line. Using the tape measure, I will mark 9.5 inches. That is my upper hip measurement. Okay. Remember that we only need the 1/4 measurement of the upper and lower hip. The same with the waistline. Now we label lower hip and upper hip. Always remember to label your work so that you will not be confused. Using the hip curve, or what we also call curve ruler, we will now shape the side seam. So shape the upper side seam. Just connect the markings that you have made. The markings of the waistline, the markings of the upper hip, and the lower hip to create upper side seam shape. And then fold the dart. Now create the final back waistline. Then cross out the old waistline so that you'll not be confused. Label the newly created waistline. This will be your final back waistline. For the skirt length, the length of my skirt is 18 inches. So from the waistline, I'll drop down the tape measure up to 18 inches, and then I'll add 1.5 inch for the hemline allowance. Always measure twice to get a straight line. Then connect the markings with a straight line. So now we have the hemline. This is the sewing line. And then the hemline allowance. Write the measurement. This is 18 inches. And the other line for the hemline allowance is 19.5 inches, meaning we added 1.5 inches. For the hemline measurement is the same with the lower hip line. So mine is 9 3/4 inches. Connect the lower side seam by using a straight ruler or L square. So just connect the hemline and the lower hip line. Add 2 inches to create a line skirt. Then, connect the markings with a straight line from the hemline up to the lower hip line. Make sure to create a smooth line. Now cross out the former side seam line. For the allowance of the waistline, the allowance is 3/4 of an inch. For the side seam allowance, the allowance of the side seam is 1 inch. Measure 1 inch all the way down. Remember that when we are doing the lines, the dart is always folded. Connect the markings using the curve ruler. Then write 3/4 of an inch waistline allowance. Using the curve ruler, connect the side seam allowance. And then, using the ruler, connect the lower part of the side seam allowance. Then on the side, add 1/4 of an inch. On the sewing line and on the allowance, add 1/4 of an inch, and then connect the markings. We add 1/4 of an inch so that when we fold the allowance, it will be enough. Write the label 1 inch for the side seam allowance. Now we have the back skirt pattern.